Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today we have a very special topic that kind of came out of the blue yesterday when World of Warcraft tweeted that they are introducing cross-faction play into the game coming up next patch. This is crazy. When I was streaming yesterday and a lot of people were typing in the chat, and I immediately was like, I'm being trolled, you know, like Twitch chat does. But this one happened to be true. Actually, let's jump into this tweet. Look at this. It's happening. This is World of Warcraft Twitter. It's real. Cross-faction dungeons, raids, and raided PvP will begin testing soon. This is crazy. Actually, let's watch. What do they have here? All right. I want to go over my thoughts, right? But initially, as a PvPer, this is one of the most exciting changes that you can see, period, right? And the reason being is because as an Alliance player in North America right now, if you go to LFG looking for group and you try to populate a 3v3 arena group or 2v2 or RBGs, it's going to be relatively difficult because a lot of the player base is playing on Horde. And now on vice versa, if you're playing Horde and you do have that one friend who plays Alliance, you can't actually play together either. And in 2022, when Horde and Alliance, you just want to be able to play the comps that you want to play. It's like, you know, I want to play with my friends, but I really want to play a Night Elf, but I can't. Now you can. This to me seems like it's kind of like the next step for PvP to get people into the game a little bit easier and get people into arena a little bit easier. Now I couldn't do this video without highlighting Absturge's comment. Well, we have Asmongold saying good. Yeah, that is good. You know, like Asmongold's tweet right there. But Carlos, my friend Absturge, so he's trolling, guys. But there's probably some people that feel this way, and I want to address that as well. He goes, seriously, there's factions for a reason. Why should I, a member of the Horde, have to play with Alliance scum? I picked Horde back in vanilla and have never changed. Now I'm expected to play with them. You've lost a fan of your game and a sub. Cheers. Man, if you guys don't know Absturge, she is the Resto Shaman, or the healer for the move for Peekaboo's team. And man, this is funny. He comes in my Twitch chat all the time and says stuff like this, like, seriously, another 0 to hero? You're cheating, bro. Just restart. And it's funny. Anyway, yeah, no, but there probably are people that actually feel this way, right? That like, WTF, this is like what the whole game's about. And now, you know, I you know, played Alliance this whole time, and I don't want to team with the Horde, right? And maybe it might be individuals that might like to roleplay a little bit more, or just enjoy the game in a different way. And I guess I can empathize with that to some degree, in some regard, but I think by and large, being able to cross-faction dungeon, raid, and raided PvP is such a healthy change for the forward direction of the game in the future that it kind of trumps that in a way, right? Like being able for more friends to play together more of the time, I think is just a beneficial change in general. This is the blue post kind of talking about their thoughts kind of behind this change. And one of the things that I really liked, I'll go in more in depth here in a second and actually read this, but just to skip ahead, to quote a one-time war chief of the Horde saying, "Times change."
This was not our destiny. Times change.
And I thought this was really cool. And the reason I think it's cool is because Blizzard tends to say something and then feel as if they need to stick to it forever, right? Like say that, like, you know, we're not gonna do this, you know, and then they just never do it, even though 2, 3, 4 years down the road, it does make the most sense to do that very thing. And sometimes it feels like, you know, Warcraft developers, or Blizzard, or Activision, or Microsoft, anyway, can be a bit stubborn in changing things that, you know, previously maybe weren't the best thing, but now in 2022 maybe are the best thing moving forward. And maybe some examples of that are recent changes to the Burning Crusade and to Classic WoW. They increased honor gains because they realized, like, you know, the majority of players in 2022 don't want to be grinding honor in Battlegrounds for their best in slot PvP gear each season for, you know, 50, 60, 70 hours. This is getting ridiculous, right? Let us, you know, times change, right? And we've seen that for a little bit with Classic as well, with SOM, like, you know, hashtag no changes. But then we've kind of seen a bit of development, right, in that line of thinking of like, wait a minute, there should be some changes potentially, right? Because although this is how it was originally, there are some flaws that should be fixed that didn't necessarily show their head until later on. And it's like, okay, now that these are part of the game, part of the ecosystem, let's change that. We actually had another announcement similar to this, talking about Blizzard banning gold boosts. So here that post is, and once again, it's the same type of reasoning. As the conditions change by which various entities operate in World of Warcraft. So this first sentence is what I think is really cool about this, right? As conditions change. It's like, look, this wasn't how we always wanted it, but moving forward, this is probably what's going to be the best. And I like this philosophy. It's cool. It seems like a whole new Blizzard. And no, it's not Microsoft. They haven't taken over yet, I don't think. I think this is more of like a coincidence, right? But this is pretty darn cool. But essentially, as of today, we will now prohibit organizations who offer boosting, matchmaking, escrow, or non-traditional services, including those offered for gold. But regardless, it is interesting that they are taking steps that they're going back on essentially what they said before in order to maintain the best action or integrity moving forward for the future of the game. And I like that. But that's a tangent. Let's get back. For years now, many players have questioned whether the rules restricting communication and cooperation between Alliance and Horde need to be so absolute. The faction divide could keep close friends from playing together or cause players to feel that their faction leaves them with far fewer opportunities to pursue their favorite group content. But these downsides have long been justified in order to preserve a central element of the Warcraft universe. Orcs versus humans, right? But times change. So I'm pleased to announce that we're working on adding the ability for Alliance and Horde players to form pre-made parties together for dungeons, raids, and rated PvP. Right now, all of a sudden, this is a bunch of questions like, well, how does this stuff actually work? And they go to answer this down here, so let's get into it. There have been 2 decades worth of code and content crafted with the assumption that parties can only have players of a single faction. And while we want to make this feature available as soon as possible, the extent of the change means that it couldn't be ready in time for the Eternity's End. Instead, they're going to test it and release it part of 9.2.5. So at the start of this video, I said next patch. I suppose that's in 2 patches, right? So not 9.2, but 9.2.5, which makes sense. Like I said, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that needs to change if they're actually going to pull this off smoothly. We're eager to hear your feedback. You know, I'm actually curious about some of the feedback too. And speaking of feedback, I'm curious about what you guys have to think as a maybe primarily PvP audience right now. Write down below in the comment section what you guys think. Is this good? Is this bad? Are you excited for this change? Is this a change that's going to keep you subbing or coming back? Or is this a change that you're like, no, dude, this is the last straw, I'm out of here? You know what I mean? And whatever your answer is, I want to know your reasoning. You know, like, I'm excited because, or this is awful because. And let's kind of like start a discussion down below. So let's check that out. And I'll be reading some of those as well. In crafting the rule set for this new feature, we were guided by 2 goals. Focus on organized instance gameplay. Dungeon raids and rated PvP have been at the center of the most compelling arguments for relaxing the faction divide. This is content that by definition requires a pre-made group, and those social barriers will have the greatest negative impact. Make this an opt-in feature as much as possible. In terms of in-world fiction and player preferences, there are decades of animosity to overcome. While we're excited to offer players the choice to reach across the faction divide and cooperate to overcome common foes, we know that there are many who will react warily to this change, and we don't want to override those preferences. This is about increasing options for players. So that's cool. I mean, like, that seems like 2 thumbs up to me, right? These guidelines led us to the following system. Awesome. 1, players will be able to directly invite members of the opposite faction to a party if you have a B-tag or real ID friendship, or if you are members of a cross-faction WoW community. Interesting. So I wonder if you'll be able to just /invite with their name in server, or if you'll be able to see someone out in the world, right-click and invite, or if you will need to add them to real ID to then invite. In either case, it shouldn't it doesn't really matter. If they want to make it like a little harder to group, meaning you have to B-tag them and then invite them, maybe that's a good thing. So you couldn't just like see a horde and invite them as an alliance. But yeah, we'll see how that ends up working out. Pre-made groups in the group finder listings, and this is huge, right? This is huge. Group finder will double in size, not double, but it'll grow significantly in size, meaning the group finder will be a little bit more poppin' come 925, which is exciting to see, right? Like there might be someone looking for RMP on Alliance and they just need a rogue, and there might be a rogue on Horde that's looking for a priest and a mage, and they don't find each other, and they can't, right? Because Horde and Alliance can't play with each other. Now they can. This is pretty cool. But it's for mythic dungeons, raids, and arenas. So of course I have the lens of a PvP player, but this is pretty substantial for mythic dungeons and raids. I do have a question immediately that comes up in my mind. What about mythic raiding? Mythic raiding would be an interesting one. I would guess that you would not be able to do it with mythic raiding, or else I feel like, well, it says raids, so maybe you can. Huh, that'll be interesting, because you could have like a guild that has like their Horde version of the guild and the Alliance version, and it's like split, and then like, because some classes are better on Horde and some are better on Alliance. I don't know. That's a whole nother video. That'll be interesting. Anyway, they'll be open to applicants of both factions, though the group leader may choose to restrict to the listing to the same faction if they choose. So basically, you can now list, but you can also say, excuse me, I do not want to play with Alliance players, only Horde, F the Alliance, and then you can just basically make it so you can only play with Horde, right? But I feel like most people will probably potentially, if my prediction's correct, opt out of this feature, but it's cool that this feature is in the game to some degree, so that people can, you know, if they want to just play with Horde, right? Guilds will remain single faction. Okay, so maybe I was getting ahead of myself. And random matchmaking activities like heroic dungeons, skirmishes, or random battlegrounds will all remain same faction. But because there is less faction-driven pressure around random groups, and to avoid compromising the opt-in nature of the feature by randomly placing a queuing orc in a group with a night elf. So once in a party together, members of the opposite faction will remain unfriendly while in the outdoor world, and fully hostile in war mode, as they do today. So even if you're in a group, you remain unfriendly. Yeah, group rating, mythic plus keys, or chasing higher PvP ratings should be able to operate seamlessly whether they're a same faction or cross-faction group. So this gets me to kind of like one of my final points, is that right now, PvP ratings are split between Alliance and Horde. Let me pull up the ladder real quick. So this is World of Warcraft 3v3 ladder just on the website. And I think seasonal rating cutoffs. If you click on Alliance, like rank 1 is 3183, right? And if you click on Horde rank 1 is 3221. Why is it different? Because they account for how many players are on Horde versus how many players are on Alliance, right? So they account kind of for both. Now, this system was put into place like, I don't know, 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, and people hated it. And to my understanding, people still hate it. Now, there's a big question, and I think the question kind of answers itself. Will this split essentially be removed? Like, will rank 1 just be a rank 1 title, where instead of having, you know, say 50 slots on Alliance, I'm just arbitrarily picking 50, and 50 slots on Horde, maybe there's just going to be 100 rank 1 slots, whether you're Horde or Alliance, because now you can play with anyone. I hope this is the case. Blizzard, if you're watching this, you could totally just, you know, remove this whole 50-50 Horde Alliance rank 1 title split now with this new feature in 925. We'll link this down below if you guys want to read everything. There are likely those who have read this far with some unease, worried that this is chipping away at the foundational principle of Warcraft. At BlizzCon 2019, when an attendee asked about cross-faction play, we responded at the time, and it's cool they kind of address this. Alliance and Horde separation is a pillar of what makes Warcraft Warcraft. But upon reflection, once again, this is so cool that they're willing to move forward instead of being stuck in the past with this is how it's going to be, right? Deep freeze. There's an oversimplification. Alliance and Horde identity is what is fundamental to Warcraft. And while at times that identity has been one of division and open conflict, we've seen Alliance and Horde finding common ground and working together since Warcraft 3. Alliance and Horde are going to be playing together moving forward in the future. I'm very excited. One, about just the potential to play with people on Alliance or Horde. For me personally, the most exciting thing isn't that you can play with Alliance and Horde itself. So what am I so excited about? I already have an Alliance mage and a Horde mage. I can already play with both. I did this years ago because I wanted to be able to play with friends on Alliance and Horde. So I have 2 mages, and I can play both anyway. Depending on who I'm playing with, I just hop on one mage or the other, right? But I'm so excited because of the things I highlighted at the start of this video, and that is Blizzard seems to finally have the humility to say, you know, this is how it was, but moving forward, it's going to be different. And I hope that fundamental mindset sticks moving forward, right? With changes to systems, right? In the new expansions coming up soon, right? Changes in borrowed power, right? What do I mean by systems and borrowed power? The things that you have to do to build up your character before actually being able to play PvP or play arenas, right? Like arena is a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? And after playing some other games and playing some more arenas, man, is arena just a beautiful, beautiful game mode. But hiding it behind borrowed power and systems for weeks and weeks and months on end, and there's a new patch and more systems and more borrowed power, it's exhausting as a PvP player. We've been saying this for years, kind of just ignored. I hope Blizzard can now look at this and be like, you know, there are some things that we could change moving forward for the future of the game that could actually result in a more exciting version of World of Warcraft, right? And yeah, that's what I'm most excited for, is this kind of philosophy shift. Hopefully that we're not stuck in the past forever, and that we can make World of Warcraft into, you know, a really, really incredible game to play again, right? And I think, yeah, eliminating those systems moving forward and getting back to the basics, gear, right? Level, gear, and then you just hop into the game, right? None of this crazy farming for months and months on end. But anyway, I'm rambling. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. I'm really excited about this. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this change. Is it good? Is it bad? I'll be reading some of those. Just another quick reminder, guys, we do have the improved merch available for another 5 days when I'm recording this video. So it might even be less by the time the video goes live. If you do want to grab the merch, the link is also down below. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.